Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
What's up, Flick Connection? This is Darren. War for the Planet of the Apes is just about to drop, so before you go out and see that one, I want to tell you what I think is the best order to watch the movies in, and that's going to include the originals as well as the new series. So today I'm going to talk about the order you really should be watching the Planet of the Apes movies in, or at least the order that makes the most sense. So my recommendation is to actually start off with the original from 1968 with Charlton Heston, and that's just the Planet of the Apes. Now, this movie was fairly original. It was based on a book, and oddly enough, the book was called Monkey Planet. I actually think the title was changed before the movie came out to Planet of the Apes, but the original title was Monkey Planet, which sounds lame as hell, so I don't know how anything actually got made. But the original from 1968 really does still stand up today. It's got some weirdness to it, but it's cool. The makeup and effects look pretty good for 1968, and the story holds up pretty well also. And it's got some really cool kind of sci-fi elements. All in all, it's a good movie. It's a classic. That's why they're still making movies as part of this franchise. So you definitely want to start there, even though it's kind of in the middle of the chronology of the story, because it's got one of the most famous twists in movie history. So even if you know the twist, you still want to start there if you're going to watch these in order, because it's such a big twist. Again, even if you know it, the twist is non-existent if you watch the current series, because the current series take place on Earth. They show how everything starts. They essentially ruin the twist in the original. So for that reason, you should watch it first, but also because it is the first. It's the first one to come out. It really cements a lot of things. There are some references. There's some things that'll make more sense in the new series if you watch that one first. Now, I recommend you watch the current series from beginning to end, including the one about to come out in theaters, War for the Planet of the Apes. Watch those three in chronological order as a flashback. So you see the original from 1968, then you watch those as a flashback with all the modern everything. They work together well, and they kind of work separate as well, but I think that's definitely the order to watch them in. At that point, things get a little bit tricky. I would recommend you totally skip the Tim Burton monstrosity that came out. I don't want to shit all over the Tim Burton movie, but I really think Tim Burton is one of the most overrated directors working today. He's got some great movies, some really just fantastic movies in his filmography, but he's got a lot of garbage in there too, and most of his junk comes from remakes or retelling classic stories, and Planet of the Apes is no exception. His Planet of the Apes looks fantastic. Tim Roth has a really good performance in it as the main villain. There's a lot of weirdness in it too, which that's all fine, but it's just not... Let's forget about how horrible his twist was. I think they were trying a little too hard to recapture kind of the magic of that original twist in the original Planet of the Apes. Forget about that being garbage. Tim Burton just doesn't do a very good job of telling a story, and his version of the Planet of the Apes really stands separate from the others. It's sort of its own thing. So you can totally discard it. Watch it again if you just love it, or if you really love all the other movies and can't get enough. There's an extra Planet of the Apes movie, but you can just skip it. So where things get tricky is going back and watching the sequels to the original Planet of the Apes. The next one to watch would be the sequel to the 1968 original, and that's Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Now this one is essentially kind of a rehash in the beginning. It's a rescue mission for Charlton Heston's character. They cast another astronaut that looks almost just like him. He gets captured by the apes, and then they send him to the Forbidden Zone, which is actually underneath, and it's actually old. It's like an old city. It's an old, Earth city. And then things get really weird. There's these underground, without giving too much away, there's these underground mutant people that speak through telepathy, and they worship this giant nuke And then Charlton Heston returns, and he has like a monkey hand, and he basically, spoiler alert, he sets off the nuke to destroy the planet. Supposedly this was at his request. He wanted his character to die. He essentially wanted to wipe out himself from the story, and he did that successfully. He didn't ever appear again except for like a weird cameo in the Tim Burton thing, which you would never even recognize it was him, so you can forget about that. But it's a weird take on it. It's not bad, but you could totally enjoy sort of the core Planet of the Apes and all its philosophies and everything without ever watching this one. But if you do want to watch sort of this bizarre sequel that's not terrible to the Planet of the Apes, watch Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And then I would start to say, like, if you didn't love that one, don't watch the next one. Like, the further you go down this rabbit hole, they just start to fall off. And really what they end up doing is they sort of mirror the stories of the current series. So that's why I'm sort of discrediting them. It's not that they're not good movies or that they're total junk. They're not great. They have their merits, but they really are dealing with sort of the same storyline that is currently happening in the current series. But just to summarize them real quick, next you've got Escape from the Planet of the Apes, and in this one, essentially the nuclear explosion that Charlton Heston sets off in Beneath messes up the timeline while some apes were trying to travel, and it throws the timeline off, and they end up back in like the 1970s America. And it's essentially just a role reversal of the Planet of the Apes philosophy, where now they're the outcast, and it just sort of flips that on its head. It's not amazing. Then you get Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, which is a lot like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which is very much the same storyline as War for the Planet of the Apes. So they're sort of showing how the apes came to be, which is a cool idea at the time, and it really wasn't a terrible movie. It didn't get like panned when it came out. If you're a big fan of the series, or you're really loving what they're doing with the new one, and you never revisited or never visited the original series, definitely give these movies a try. But if you feel like you got enough from like the original and the new series, they really do a good job. Maybe go back and watch Beneath just to sort of end it. But that's really all I think you need to do. Again, I'm just recommending that you watch the finals, couple of movies in the original series if you just loved it. And then again, if you really love it that much, you're probably already a fan. You've probably already seen all of them. So if you haven't already gone down that rabbit hole, my recommendation is it's not one that needs to go down. And I really like the original. I really like what they're doing with the new ones. I just don't see the need to sort of do the same thing with sort of the older effects and stuff. And I even hate the way that sounds coming out of my mouth, because I love classic movies. I love all of that. But they just weren't as well done, even as as well done as the original. They all came out about a year apart from each other, a year or two, but they came out very close to each other, and they essentially just became a cash grab at the time. The first was so popular, and then it was able to kind of spawn these other movies that weren't nearly as good. So, again, just skip them. But I can't wait to watch War for the Planet of the Apes. I've been ready for it. I think it's going to be really fantastic. Even some of the more recent footage I've seen on it makes me even more excited than I was from the original trailers for it. So it's definitely one I'm going to be seeing in the theaters. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think there's a better order to watch these in. This is just my recommendation. And as always, thanks for the likes and the subscribes, and thanks for watching.